Welcome to The Advocates. I'm Aaron Dean. The war between Israel and Hamas brings members of Congress together for a vigil on the steps of the Capitol. The vigil drew hundreds. It comes nearly 1 week after Hamas launched a surprise attack on Israel, killing more than 1,300 Israelis. At least 150 others were abducted. Israel is vowing to eliminate Hamas. In response, Israel says that Hamas militants are being killed in the fight. The Gaza Health Ministry says that about 1,800 have been killed in the territory.
When Israel and the United States need one another, it's moments like this where we step up. And it is actions that matter so much more. It is actions that matter so much more than words.
The U.S. provides more than $3 billion in aid to Israel each year. Congress would need to authorize an emergency aid package, but won't be able to do anything without a Speaker of the House. President Biden is making the 25th anniversary of the murder of Matthew Shepard, a Wyoming man who was killed for being gay. Shepard was robbed, beaten, tied to a fence, and left for dead by two men he met at a bar in Wyoming in October of 1998. He died 6 days later at a hospital in Colorado. Biden is praising Shepard's parents for their work in turning their son's late memory into a movement. But Biden adds the country's work is far from over and urged Congress to pass the Equality Act. Shepard was laid to rest at the Washington National Cathedral in October 2018. New Hope, Pennsylvania is an LGBTQIA haven. This year, the Creative Hope Initiative, in partnership with Queerfest, is shining a light on their largely untold stories. They've commissioned 5 queer filmmakers to create 5 short documentaries that illuminate the community's artistic, vibrant, and electric charm. Filmmaker Kase Peña says that the New Hope community played a role helping her express her most authentic self.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey in making this film?
Yes. Like I said, and when I first wrote the treatment, New Hope had been a place that I had never heard of. So I was completely new to this town. I was completely new to all the amazing things that that are going on there. And so I heard of Dr. Christine McGinn, who is a transgender woman who performs vaginoplasty. As it turns out, she's one of the top surgeons in the world, and fittingly so, being that she's a trans woman herself. And I was immediately drawn to her. At first, I didn't know what my subject was going to be, but when I found out about her, I was like, wow, this is it. And I immediately felt it in my heart that I should be making a story, if not about her, but having her included. So at first, the story, I wanted it to be about her and her practice, but Dr. McGinn, being an incredibly busy human being, it's very hard to get time with her. And if you're going to make a documentary, the subject has to make themselves available to you. So in order to get this thing done, I had to thrust myself into the middle of the story.
Oh, your documentary dives into your experience researching gender affirming procedures. How can that visibility on screen have a positive impact on gender affirming care awareness overall?
Well, I can have my journey and me seeking information can have an incredible impact on members of the trans community and their family members as well. You'd be surprised how there is a lot more information today than there was, say, even 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I've learned through Dr. McGinn that this surgery was first performed, I think, in the late 1950s. So obviously we've gone, right? We've traveled a long, long way. And it's not just society. And obviously, society is more open to trans people and more accepting. There's more understanding, but also the medical advances in surgery and equipment and knowledge. There's still a lot of transgender people who don't possess this information. A lot of people think that we are just born knowing this, and that's not true. This is information that a lot of us have to seek. In conversations that I've had with other transgender people, I have come to realize how little they know about gender affirming surgeries. And so I am hoping that, and I trust more than hope, that my documentary is going to educate provide about a lot of information, and it's not necessarily for them to choose Dr. McGinn as a surgeon, although she is a perfect candidate, I would argue, for just about anyone. But it's to help you make a more informed decision, especially when it comes to vaginoplasty. Not every trans woman wants vaginoplasty. That is a myth. That is not the ultimate goal of every transgender woman. Some transgender women I know are completely happy remaining what we describe as pre-op. And some do want it. For those who want it, and for their family members, a lot of family members of trans people are seeking information. This is going to provide a lot of information. It's not going to provide all of it, but it's going to be an amazing jumping point for sure.
And sometimes when people create projects and they dive into their work, they learn things about themselves. Was there anything that you kind of learned about yourself that you didn't know prior to doing all of this?
I'm not sure that I learned something, but I became more confident in something. As I just said in the last answer, while I was answering the last question, there are a lot of transgender women. There's, in my experience, right, and someone else can have a different experience, right? But in my experience, I've come across 3 transgender women. The one that I just described as they're perfectly happy remaining pre-op for the entirety of their life. Then there are some transgender women who are on the opposite spectrum of that, and they're like, no, I must have vaginoplasty, and until I don't have it, I am going to go crazy. There is that. And then there are people like myself in the middle who, there's a lot of back and forth. One day you want it, one day you don't want it. And you have there's confusion in your head and there's doubts. And I thought for a long time that there was something wrong with me until I had this conversation with someone. And they said, no, Kase, there's no right or wrong. Whatever you feel is okay. And so I had to, that brought a lot of ease to me. But if there's one thing that I became more confident is that now visiting New Hope, talking to Dr. McGinn, I feel like I found the person, the right doctor. I've interviewed 4 different doctors for this possibility. And the other 3 never struck me as you're not the right person for me. That's not to say that they're bad doctors or they're bad surgeons. For me, I'm the type of person that if you're going to perform surgery on me, not only do I have to be confident in that you as a doctor know what you're doing, I feel like there's got to be somewhat of a little personal chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I have to like you as a person. And, there were other issues, let's say, with the other doctors that I felt you're not the right person for me. With Dr. McGinn, I felt so comfortable. And now I feel confident this has to happen. This has to happen, as opposed to being in that in-between back and forth. Yeah, I want it. I don't want it.
And your film, along with 4 others, are going to be shown at this film festival. And how do you think that these 5 stories can push the needle towards more queer filmmakers?
Well, it helps that we have a big machine behind these films. These are not just independent filmmakers. It's not just a person trying to make a film against all odds. We have the Outfit Film Festival, right? We have the support of Outfit, which is now in its 40th year, the largest LGBT film festival in the world. And we also have a production company, Traverse 32, which has an incredibly long record producing films. They don't just produce LGBT stories. This is just one of the things that they do. But having their support and having them behind us is going to ensure that a lot of people are going to receive and watch these movies and films and documentaries. So with that, the message is going to get out there. The message of these films is going to get out there. So for sure. And one thing I have to say is I can't really speak on the other films, but I did watch an early cut of each, and they are all, in my estimation, they're definitely very different, but they're all very beautiful as well.
And you can watch all 5 films live in an exclusive primetime presentation right here on the Advocate channel on November 6th and 7th at 6 p.m. Eastern. Download the Advocate channel app on your phone or TV for exclusive content and interviews with the creators themselves. And thanks so much for watching The Advocates. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to stream us live, and you can even subscribe on our YouTube channel. For The Advocate channel, I'm Aaron Dean.